Broadcasting live in downtown Oakland.
I'm David Hollander, and you're listening to Protect Your Assets. Over the last 20 years, I've met many people dissatisfied with the lack of value and personal attention their financial advisor provides them. At Liberty Group, we personalize every aspect of our clients' retirement and financial plan with estate law, wealth management, and tax planning all under one roof. Call today to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Seven rounds go into the rear view mirror, and it is time to get started with the fight for the championship. With only 4 rounds left, it is now or never for these drivers to put points up on the board, and it is a 1-point difference between the top two. Heading into this racetrack that sits nestled in America's heartland, it's Road America, and we welcome you to live coverage of the Real Racers Virtual Club live on RaceSpotTV. As always, myself, Joshua Lee, here with you in the booth. Alongside me is Lorenzo Bonder with Hugo Louise down in the virtual production trailer. And Lorenzo, we're back off the heels of the oval at the Phoenix Raceway to another road course, obviously. The majority of the calendar is road courses. We had 2 ovals in there, and through both of the ovals, we saw a lot of exciting racing, both at Gateway with Anders Krohn grabbing the win, and then in Phoenix, a bit of a surprise winner in race number 1. Max Butler able to grab the win there. Race number 2 was Anders Krohn grabbing his 3rd total race of the season, but now 4 races left in this 11-round campaign, and time is running out for a lot of these drivers to put points on the board, especially for the top 5, the bottom 3 in the top 5 to be specific, who are now trying to catch Krohn and Lastichkin, who sit in the top 2 spots.
Yeah, and it's all blown wide open out of proportion of sorts. It's kind of funny how the pendulum swings as we see the standings. If we saw Nikita Lastochkin, he was leading by 1 point of Anders Krohn. I think it was 95-94 last week, and now the pendulum swings into Krohn's favor after Phoenix and Lastochkin kind of fumbled into 2 races. Now the points shifted. It is just a 1-point difference, but now on Krohn's way.
Of course, 3 drop weeks are still being factored into these totals, so they could continue to change as we go through the final couple of rounds of the championship. But for now, Anders Krohn and Nikita Lastichkin sit 1 and 2. Road America has now become one of the staples of the NASCAR calendar, but has always been a staple of the IndyCar calendar here, Lorenzo. A very, very interesting racetrack, a lot of tight turns and a lot of fast straightaways that are going to play into the slipstream of these Indy Pro 2000s.
It is. It's gonna be a little bit of a downforce race from basically start to finish and into turn number 5. And it's an interesting track of sorts. I like this track. I like Road America quite a lot. People underestimate this track quite a lot. It's highly technical because you do need to manage your tires quite extensively, because you're going to the kink, you're going to kind of the corners, some deep braking zones where you can lock up the car. The carousel weights your your left-hand side tires quite way too much. So it's a track that it demands precision driving from start to finish, and a little bit of luck if you want to make overtakes on the straight sides.
Now on board with Anders Krohn as he makes his way through the first couple of corners here at the virtual Road America. Now we just exited turn number 3 and is now going down the lawn straightaway into turn number 4. Of course, 3 wins on the season for your current points leader of Anders Krohn. We'll see what he can do here from the virtual Road America as he goes into the left-hander very quickly up the hill here, which is a challenge and braking zone for the Indy cars and the NASCAR Xfinity Series and Cup Series machines that go here. Not going to be quite the challenge in these Indy Pro 2000s, I think, Lorenzo, but still going to be a challenge braking uphill going into that left-hander.
Yeah, going to this Corvette bridge is a little bit of a tricky one because the car is a little bit light because of the elevation change, you're going upwards. So whenever you hit the braking a little bit and you want to throw the car to the inside, it can get light on the rear and you can basically lock or spin out during the transition from the elevated part into the more flat spots as he goes into the kink. And it is a part that if you know how to get it right, that 5 and 6, you can gain so much time. Then you basically are well set into what would be the second half of the track.
He's working his way now through Canada Corner and exiting through Thunder Valley. Turn 13, the Bill Mitchell bend here, and then into turn 14, down the Road America straight to complete a lap here in Elkhart Lake. And we'll see where this is going to put Anders Krohn up on the board. Of course, first times coming in now for qualifying here for the Real Racers Virtual Club round number 8 event of the campaign. Across the line, let's see how quick Krohn can be. It's a 2:02.093 for the moment. That'll go up to the top of the board. Where will everybody else fall in? Second place goes to McGinnis. He's going to be a couple of tenths off with the 2:02.641. 2:02.337 for the other championship rival of Nikita Lastichkin. He'll now sit in P2. Nicholas Leo comes onto the board. He'll be P5, a couple of seconds off the pace. So take a look at Jackson Ball working his way through turn 13. And back to the front straightaway. Doesn't look like it's going to be the best time for Jackson Ball. Pretty slow sector 1 time, pretty slow sector 2 time as well, as he'll go up the hill and is going to complete his lap time at about 2:13 when he comes across the line. So that'll put him down the order. And just taking a look at the timing tower now, Josh Green able to hop up to the top of the board. And what a weekend Josh Green was able to have as we take a look at Joe Butler and go on board with him. Going back to Josh Green, Indy Pro 2000 race number 1 at St. Petersburg for the IndyCar opener this past week. He was able to grab the win there in his rookie season and his first ever race in Indy Pro 2000. So we congratulate Josh Green, and clearly it's taking over into the sim world here, Lorenzo, as Green sits top of the board. We'll see if Joe Butler can do anything about that in his Ferrari painted number 3 livery.
Yeah, looking really good, Josh. The only guy that was under the 202s in practice with a 201.4, I don't know if that was with draft or anything, but looking really good so far. The race 1 winner of St. Petersburg, one of the bumpiest tracks of the IndyCar season, and just starting his drive with the basically into the Indy Pro 2000s this season. Placed 3rd in the championship so far.
We'll see what Joe Butler can do through turn 13. How is this going to work out for the number 3 machine? Is he gonna be able to get that top spot away from Josh Green? He comes off of the final corner, turn 14, down the front straightaway, up the hill he goes. Will it be enough? Full drag race to the line. And it doesn't look like it is going to be enough. It will be in the 203s, a 203.368. That is going to put him into P number 8 on the timing tower for the moment. Kurt Panzergrau up the hill. He is, of course, one of your champions of this series back in season 1, and he is going to come in with a 207.341. Rick Sheldon moves up into P number 5, as now 12 drivers have put in times on the board. This is one driver who has not put in a time on the board, Jackson Ball. And should also be known that Kurt Panzergrau last time by must have went off track at some point and gotten a 0x or a 1x, and his time was disqualified. And as Jackson Ball comes across the line, his time will now be allowed, but Lorenzo unfortunately looked to be one of his last laps that he can put down on the board, and he is done. So unfortunate for Jackson Ball, unfortunate for Kurt Panzergrau. So easy to make a mistake and go off track here at Road America, especially with the track limits being so close to these rumble strips. Becomes a very difficult game of trying to maximize how far you can go off this race course.
Yeah, let's just say turn number 1, if you go slightly on the grass after the rumble strips, you get a off track. If you go into the rumble strips and then into slightest patch of grass into turn number 3 is also an off track. You're so close to the between the tarmac and the rumble strips and the grass over here, because you have to kind of abuse the track of sorts going to those rumble strips, that either A, your car kind of bounces off, bottoms out, and you can spin, or second, you're hitting the tarmac once again, getting a clean lap, might have a loss of time, or third, you hit the grass and invalidate your lap. It is not the easiest lap for you to do here, even for qualifying under such a high pressure on Road America.
And with about a minute 40 now remaining in qualifying, Robert McGinnis will come across the line. And as we get ready to go racing tonight, of course, we would like to thank a handful of the sponsors that help to put on Real Racers Virtual Club every time we go live here on RaceSpotTV. That starts with Liberty Group. At Liberty Group LLC, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always wanted. Our team of professionals can help you create a well-thought-out strategy using a variety of investments and insurance products and services to help you address your financial needs and concerns. We also would like to thank the Stephen Wilson Racing Academy. The Stephen Wilson Racing Academy exists to assist clients on their motorsport journey. SWRA utilizes 20-plus years in the sport with advanced coaching techniques, track and car knowledge, and widespread international industry connections to help clients progress to any level imaginable. Whether the client is new to driving on track or an experienced amateur racer, we help our clients develop driving skills that enable them to climb through the Ferrari Challenge ranks, win races in Ferrari Challenge, advance to competing in Pro Am racing, and one day possibly iconic races such as the Daytona 24-hour or the Le Mans 24-hour. We also would like to thank Coforce for their support of Real Racers Virtual Club.
Coforce is a digital media marketing agency specializing in the world of motorsports. Working in a variety of racing series in North America, Coforce offers a full range of services, from video production and targeted branding campaigns to event planning and special projects. For more information, visit www.coforce.com or find them at a race event near you.
It is time to take to the grid here from the Virtual Road America in a blazing fast time. The only driver under the 2:02 mark at a 2:01.681, Josh Green, off the heels of his race win in St. Petersburg, is going to start on the pole here at Virtual Road America. Anders Krohn will sit to his outside. Nikita Lastichkin sits in third, not letting his championship rival get too far up the road, with Robert McGuinness to his outside in row 2. Joe Butler, Matthew Escajeda are going to share the third row. Back from there, starting in P number 7, it will be rock and roll Rick Sheldon, with Max Butler starting outside of row 4 in P8. Nicholas Leo and Zach Hudson are going to round out your top 10, with Wade Michael and Dave Anderson rounding out the first 6 rows on the grid. And the final row on the grid, row number 7, will be Kurt Pansegrau and Jackson Ball. Both of them able to get lap times in, but you can see 3 seconds off the pace for both of them and almost 4 seconds off the pace for Jackson Ball. They'll be at the tail end of the field. But remember, 2 races tonight. That is the starting grid here for race number 1. We will have a full field invert going into race number 2 tonight. So could be very well possible we could see Pansegrau and Jackson Ball starting on the front row when it comes to the second race of the night. But a little bit of a shortened race distance in terms of laps now here, Lorenzo, because this is a longer racetrack. These cars don't exactly take it in as quick of a fashion as Indy cars do. So about 2 minutes on each of these lap times. So we're going to do 7 laps instead of 11. Do you think that's going to adjust the strategy for any of these drivers? They don't need to make pit stops, but of course they need to vary their level of aggression depending on how many laps are left. And with less laps on the counter, do you think they might be a little bit more aggressive early on?
I do think so, especially given the fact that Road America is a drafty track of sorts, right? You're going to reside quite a lot on draft. You can catch up so much in this stretch from the start to finish. You're going to turn number 5 as well, this stretch as well. If you get a good exit out of the carousel, going into the kink and then headed into kind of the corner, you can kind of have yourself a run. So you want to build up the pace and you want to build up your aggression of sorts, going early on and try to show your claws towards other drivers. Can it get a little bit chaotic? It can, but that's how Road America is. You really want to try to scale yourself up in the grid. That given the track conditions we're seeing here, Josh, 26 on the ambient, 25 degrees Celsius on the track. So it's a rather cold track of sorts, so they can push pretty much hard from start to finish and be quite wary that the tires will give the grip necessary for them from start to finish.
And they're working their way now through the carousel, which is through Sector 2 here on this course. As we get a great look on board with Rick Sheldon, starting about dead middle of the pack in P7. Through this campaign, at this point in time, we have had some odd about 5 different winners. Andre Castro, Josh Green, Anders Krohn, Nikita Lastichkin, and Max Butler. Anders Krohn, the most race wins, tied currently with Nikita Lastichkin, both with 3. Andre Castro, Josh Green, and Max Butler all sit with 1 win currently this season. Heading into round number 8 here at Road America. 2 races tonight. Leaving it all on the table are these drivers, and we'll see if anybody will be able to double their win count or if it'll be somebody new going to victory lane tonight. We saw Max Butler, a surprise winner, grab it in Phoenix. Will he be able to go back-to-back in race number 1s? He starts P8 tonight, but Josh Green up at the front, the fastest driver in practice, fastest driver in qualifying, is looking to get his first win since round number 2 at Lime Rock Park. Anybody's guess at what will happen tonight as the field works their way through turn number 14. They'll go on to the Road America straight and get ready for 7 laps of race number 1. First race of the evening here from Virtual Road America. The pace car is down and away, and we are racing from Virtual Road America. As the field goes up the hill, the green flag is shown. They hit the loud pedal, and we are underway. It's a great start for Josh Green. He's going to pull away very quickly up to the front, and you can see already Anders Krohn playing a little bit of defense with Nikita Lastichkin behind. Robert McGinnis going to take a peek to the outside for second. Is he going to be able to get there? Doesn't look like he will. Lastichkin's gonna run him out of room. McGinnis is turned, and in the middle of the field, is anybody else gonna get involved? And it looks like, yes, they will. McGinnis is involved. Kurt Panzergrau looks like he might have gotten involved. That's Wade Michael involved with Jackson Ball. 3 drivers involved in this one. Panzergrau barely able to get through, but now that sits 3 drivers damaged at the back of the field as Josh Green pulls away, going down into turn 4.
Now into turn 4, as we gonna see Lastichkin try to go for an under overtake, but no room whatsoever to make that. Lastichkin kind of missed his braking point a little bit, went wide into turn number 1. I think that's what threw McGinnis into the sand trap and made him come back on track after losing control. So a little bit of a messy start, but that's what I said. You know, Road America is a little bit of a messy start if given on the conditions. In a messy track as he gets black flag.
Ooh, and almost getting turned around there was Rick Sheldon. Looked like the 63 took a small trip through the grass, just a couple of tires down into that grass, gonna loosen that car up, but luckily he does not go full around. He is just gonna go down into P number 9 currently on the racetrack. Josh Green now leads by 7.5 tenths. Anders Krohn sits in second, trying to chase him down. Look at who's now in third. Joe Butler goes up to third. Matthew Escajeda up to fourth after Nikita Lastichkin, who now sits in fifth. Ran McGinnis out of room at turn number 1. Is falling back now to 5th, and Max Butler is going to be on his back bumper. Is that damage to the front end, Lorenzo? I believe that wing is still on, but he did make a hard hit with McGinnis, and he is going to come into the pit lane. Possible damage for Lastichkin, and this is going to move him way down the order here in race number 1. I tell you what, though, Lorenzo, it's going to give him a good grid spot for race number 2 if he can't race his way up, but this is going to be points that he is missing out on in the battle for the championship with Anders Krohn.
Yeah, I agree. You know, whenever you are 1 point, you need to be close. We're going to look at the replay of that start. You're going to see them kind of elbowing each other out, and you're going to see Lastichkin kind of going deep into the braking zone. He's going to throw McGinnis out of room into the sand. And once you're into the grass mixed with the sand and you have no tarmac to go, it's a car control loss, and the rest is history.
Of course, the driver now residing in Los Angeles, California. Won 3 races so far this season. It's not going to be a 4th here. And there's the pile up with Wade Michael and Jackson Ball, unfortunately, joining him in that incident. So now 12th, 13th, 14th all in the pits. Nikita Lastichkin sits in 11th, who now will exit the pit lane a long way down. It is about 17, now 18 seconds to Kurt Panzergrau, who sits in 10th. He's the next driver up the road for Lastichkin to try and chase. Getting a great look at the Red Bull Star Wars livery that he has sported for every round of the season. That's Zach Hudson, who currently sits in seventh, excuse me, in the number 6 machine. And of course, Real Racers Virtual Club, we always love highlighting all of the real racers that we have in this campaign, and a lot of real world people who work in motorsports. For example, Zach Hudson, born in Indianapolis, an account manager with a marketing agency that is involved in racing, owns 3 motorcycles, and a huge Star Wars fan, which of course makes sense, the Star Wars livery on the car that Red Bull had a couple of years ago on their car. And of course, photographer as well, taking photos for IndyCar, IMSA, Road to Indy, vintage race cars, and more. Raced dirt oval karting as a kid and won Rookie of the Year and class champion in his first season. So great to see a lot of real world people from motorsports, whether it's behind the wheel or whether it's behind a camera or anything in between. Love to see them out here racing at Real Racers Virtual Club. So we get a look at your reigning champion, Matthew Escajeda, champion from season 2. He's fighting with Joe Butler, who currently sits in 3rd. We go on board with Escajeda, who's going to look for that spot. Question is, will he be able to overtake one of the Butler brothers, a videographer and video editor? And going to the outside now into the right-hander goes Escajeda. Is it going to be enough to power around the outside? He's got Butler on his inside line. Will it be enough? It doesn't look like it will. Maybe a bit of a trip through the grass, but the track limits are going to work in his favor. And Escajeda up and into the podium places for race 1.
Yeah, because you now have that extended rumble strip on this new version of Road America that iRacing implemented, I think, on season 2. You do have a little bit of more breathing room trying to go outside the track and try to, you know, maximize the run. It does make the car a little bit bumpy so you can bottom out a little bit, but that being said, nice overtake from Escajeda. A little bit scary because he touched the grass right on coming into the braking of the turn number 5, but managed to do it anyway.
So Escajeda now will sit in 3rd, and a little bit up the road, you can see that 47 running up there. That is Anders Krohn, as it looks like they worked their way past a lap machine there just for a moment. That was Jackson Ball, who they worked around. So now he's 1 lap down. Rick Sheldon off the racetrack towards the back, but not going around for the number 63. Just another slight trip through the grass. And unfortunately, these Indy Pro 2000s aren't the best lawn mowers, so they want to keep them on the asphalt whenever possible. And this battle for 3rd continues as Escajeda will lead Butler up the hill here on the front straightaway at Road America. Now winding down the laps with 4 to go. You can see Escajeda really moving around when they went up that hill, Lorenzo, trying to break that slipstream, which is so big in these Indy Pro 2000s. I mean, we saw it at both of our oval races this season, and we're seeing it a lot of these racetracks that have these long straightaways that are available for drafting, as we see Rick Sheldon go off track. A bit of a touch to the outside wall there through the grass, but didn't look like too much damage to that number 63, and he was able to get back on the asphalt. But these slipstreams, especially on the front straightaway, on this straightaway they're going through now, down the moraine sweep through the kettle bottoms, they have these long straightaways that they can really utilize that slipstream to make passes. Joe Butler not able to utilize it to its full extent there, but we saw last time by this very corner the 9 of Matthew Escajeda able to utilize it.
Yeah, he was able to utilize that. It's just that because I think Escajeda was down right in the middle, he just couldn't make the overtake or couldn't commit to an overtake attempt. So I think that was a little bit smarter on Joe Butler, in my opinion, for you to not go on that aggressive overtake. Just take your patience, try to ride the draft as much as you can. We just saw how big the draft is in here, not just in these cars, Indy cars as well, and also in NASCAR. They're quite big as well. A little bit more, I would say, difficult to overtake on an NASCAR car than an Indy car per se, but he can manage that at the end of the day. Now maybe you can see an overtake kind of the corner for Joe Butler.
On board now with the front wing of Joe Butler, and steps out for a moment, gets right back in the pocket. Huge slipstream, and Matthew Escajeda with a big defensive move, but he's going to overcook it into the corner, and Escajeda is into the tire barrier. The number 9 machine went super defensive into Canada corner, and it is not going to end well for your reigning champion. He overcooks the brakes going into the corner. Lorenzo goes off track, and once he's in the sand, trying to get it stopped. Didn't go that hard into the tire barrier. Doesn't look like any damage, but that moves him down into P6, now outside of the top 5.
the only damage he probably had is from his pride of, you know, just making a mistake like that. It does happen from time to time. I think that was a little bit of a human mistake. I think Jackson Ball just getting lapped again by another car behind. I think that is Nicholas Leo, who just made the overlap on Jackson Ball. But yeah, I think Escajeda just overcommitted way too much on the defense. Nothing that he could do once you overcommit to defense, going to probably the deepest braking zone or the second deepest braking zone of the track in kind of the corner.
3 laps to go here in race number 1. Josh Green still sits in the lead. Anders Krone now 2.3 seconds behind. The Butlers now will sit 3rd and 4th. First up, it's Joe. Second up, it's Max. And then you're taking a look at your 5th place driver now of Nicholas Leo in the number 69. So a strong top 5 as we'll conclude race number 1 here in just a couple of laps time. Remember, full field invert for race number 2. At the moment, it will be Jackson Ball who will sit on the pole. Robert McGinnis will sit on the outside of the front row. Then Wade Michael, Rick Sheldon, Zach Hudson, and Nikita Lastichkin, who currently will be starting 6th in race number 2. That is going to be very helpful for him, Lorenzo, to get points out of race number 2, but a 9th place finish is not what he wanted. With this, it looks like he might have to take one of his drop weeks, or I believe he will have to take one of his drop weeks, and he'll have to give the Interlagos race number 1 result, which was only 18 points out of a possible 25, back into his rotation. This is going to extend the lead for Anders Krone more, but it is safe to say Anders Krone, if he has an off race, which of course we haven't seen him have an off race since the beginning of the Interlagos run, he has 2 races that he did not race in. He did not race at Lime Rock Park, and he did not race at Legacy Silverstone. So one bad result for Anders Krone. He's going to have to use the 11 points that he got at the Red Bull Ring, and then another bad result. He's going to have to start moving these 0-point rounds back into the rotation.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I would say that the fact that Krone didn't race 2 races kind of bring this championship wide open, not only in the lead, but you said in the top 5 as well. So I wouldn't say that Nikita should be overly concerned about this. Of course, he didn't want to get a black flag and have to do a drive-through on lap 1 immediately right after the start, because he pushed McGinnis away, and what happened to McGinnis right after was kind of on Lastochkin's. But it's not over just yet. You still have plenty of races left. You just have to focus on getting towards the end of the race and getting a solid result on race number 2.
Of course, should say that Anders Krone would need to miss more races for one of his 0-point races to be then factored into his points, but 1 bad result, and he's going to have to start using those bad results. He cannot drop them with the 2 races now missing from his point total. So Anders Krone needs to be basically walking on eggshells for the remainder of this season, but with 2 to go, this is the battle between the Butlers for 3rd place currently on this racetrack. 0.8 of a second separating the 2. It doesn't look like brother Max is going to be able to catch up any further to brother Joseph, who sits in 3rd right now. Of course, Max Butler is always behind a camera. IndyCar, IMSA, SRO, just basically any type of motorsports. Born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana, and loves to race here in the sim. He's been sim racing for about 2 years now, and we enter the final lap. Josh Green sits at the front, and he's going to be continuing winning ways, Lorenzo. We talked a couple of times about his stellar race win at race number 1 for the Indy Pro 2000s in the real world at St. Petersburg this past weekend, and now coming into the sim, looks like he might have taken a little bit of that speed home with him and is using it in his sim rig tonight.
Yeah, taking that good momentum that he is P3 in the championship, got the race win on race 1, didn't get the best result going to race 2. Got P11 in the race number 2, but then again, that was enough to put him in 3rd in the championship. So a really good, solid run for the number 2 car, and who knows, might be the forefront favorite for race number 2. But because we have the inverted grid, everything can change just like that immediately.
So Josh Green going to work his way now through the middle sector here at Virtual Road America. Big switch back into the carousel. Anders Krohn showed some good speed at the beginning of this race, but ever since then has fallen his way back down and now 2.8 seconds behind Josh Green. You can see the 48 in the 2's rear view mirror. Not going to be enough to go back to back in the win column. And looking for second race win of the season. We haven't really seen this type of speed from Josh Green since Lime Rock Park at the beginning of this season. Glad to see it back from Josh Green. Of course, real world Indy Pro 2000 racer as well. Haven't seen him at all since Lime Rock Park, and now with a lot of zeros in that points total, this win is going to help him out a little bit in the points. As up the hill he goes, and for the first time since Lime Rock Park when he competes, he also goes to victory lane. Josh Green, race number 1 winner from Virtual Road America.
Solid win for the number 2 car, as we're going to see the brothers of Joe Butler and Max Butler finish in 3rd and 4th. Anders Krohn finishes 2nd place, extending the lead of the championship. And Nick Leo is going to finish the top 5. Josh, really solid race. Of course, we had that issue on lap 1, and Nikitas Lastachkin managed to recover the race from going all the way down to the back and second to last place in P13, scavenging a 9th place at the end of the day.
So with that, race number 1 has concluded. Waiting on a couple of more drivers to work their way across the line, and then we'll be able to bring you the full race results. There goes Nikita Lastachkin coming across the line, and already crossing the line to solidify his P14 was Jackson Ball. He'll be on the pole for race number 2 tonight, but your winner of race number 1 is Josh Green. Anders Krohn will finish in 2nd. Joe Butler, Max Butler, Nicholas Leo rounding out your top 5, with Matthew Escajeda, Dave Anderson, Kurt Pansegrau, Nikita Lastachkin, and Zach Hudson rounding out your top 10. Rounding out your field of race number 1, Rick Sheldon, Wade Michael, Robert McGinnis, and Jackson Ball. Once again, Ball will be starting on the pole for race number 2 of the evening after a full field invert. So 1 race down of the night, and as we get ready for race number 2, we'd like to remind you of the sponsors of the Real Racers Virtual Club, starting with Liberty Group. At Liberty Group LLC, we believe everyone should be able to live the retirement they've always wanted. Our team of professionals can help you create a well thought out strategy using a variety of investments and insurance products and services to help you address your financial needs and concerns. We also would like to thank the Stephen Wilson Racing Academy. The Stephen Wilson Racing Academy exists to assist clients on their motorsport journey. SWRA utilizes 20 plus years in the sport with advanced coaching techniques, track and car knowledge, and widespread international industry connections to help clients progress to any level imaginable. Whether the client is new to driving on track or an experienced amateur racer, we help our clients develop driving skills that enable them to climb through the Ferrari Challenge ranks, win races in Ferrari Challenge, advance to competing in Pro-Am racing, and one day possibly iconic races such as the Daytona 24-hour or the Le Mans 24-hour. We also would like to thank Coforce for their support of the Real Racers Virtual Club.
Coforce is a digital media marketing agency specializing in the world of motorsports. Working in a variety of racing series in North America, Coforce offers a full range of services, from video production and targeted branding campaigns to event planning and special projects. For more information, visit www.coforce.com or find them at a race event near you.
One race concluded for the night, and we're ready to go racing in race number 2. Warm-up is underway. 5 minutes on the clock, about a minute and a half of that now down. As we get a look at Robert McGinnis on this racetrack, we welcome you back here to RaceSpotTV's live coverage of the Real Racers Virtual Club. Joshua Lee here with you in the booth alongside Lorenzo Bonner with Hugo Louise down in the virtual production trailer. And Lorenzo, as we continue on with tonight's event, of course, I think we really saw some great speed out of Josh Green, but with his race win in race number 1, he's starting in 14th, dead last for race number 2. we've seen drivers get close to working their way from the very front to the very back, most notably Anders Krohn getting second place in Interlagos race number 2. Unfortunately lost out to Nikita Lasichkin. But do you think Green might have the speed through all 7 laps to go from 14th up and to grab the second win of the night?
On paper, he does, Josh. The thing is, I would say he has to get out of the first 5 turns first. That's where it gets really clunky for the start with these Indy Pro 2000s. But after that, you know, if he gets out of turn 5 unscathed and there is some racing going, then I think he can set himself up in a groove and escalate the grid and then get back to P1. I think I would say the only real threats over there might be Nikita Lasichkin and Robert McGinnis, aside Anders Krohn, that are right in the middle of the pack and could ride coattail with Josh Green headed into the final laps. I don't know if we're gonna see a side-by-side finish like we saw at Interlagos, but it could become really close if they let him.
Of course, a long slipstream down the front straightaway as well could lead to that another insane side-by-side finish like we did see at Interlagos just a couple of weeks ago. So drivers on track, about a minute and a half now left here in the warm-up as we look at Dave Anderson in the number 62. Looking for more speed on the racetrack is Anderson. Not exactly the best season that I think he was looking for, but still definitely a solid one with the races that he has competed in. Currently sits 13th in the points standings, 4 top 10s out of his 5 starts this season. Fortunately, no top 5s, no podiums, and no wins on his points tally either. We'll see if he can get one here in race number 2 as he gets a little bit loose through the carousel there, getting onto the grass. But with 1 minute left in warm-up, Lorenzo, do you think Josh Green is going to be a good pick to win this race? Or are you going to go a little bit more safe, maybe go for Nikita Lasichkin, who is going to be starting about the upper portion of the mid-pack here in race 2?
I'm going to say right at a good moment and say Josh Green will take race number 2.
That's a bold statement, starting in last place.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I am kind of infamous at Road America for picking people, and they actually die right next, so I have to mind my words a little bit over here, so I don't actually kill them and they blame me afterwards if they actually get crashed on the race, or they crash themselves.
So if we see Josh Green wreck out on lap number 1, you can send your complaints to Lorenzo Bonder at RaceSpot.tv.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
We'll see the complaints start rolling in on our email. But 10 seconds remaining here in the warm-up, and we are getting ready to go racing for the second time tonight. The third event of this 2-race format that started at Interlagos for round number 6. And we're ready to go racing once again for a second race of the night. Let's take a look at your starting grid here for race number 2. Once again, a full field invert. We'll put Jackson Ball on to the front row of the grid. Robert McGinnis will start in P number 2. Back from there, it will be Wade Michael and Rick Shelton sharing the second row. Zach Hudson and Nikita Lasichkin will share the third row. Kurt Panzergrau and Dave Anderson, 7th and 8th. Matthew Escajeda and Nicholas Leo going to round out your top 10 on the grid. Max Butler and Joe Butler, the pair of brothers, going to be starting on the 6th row. And there is your top 2 from race number 1, Anders Krohn and Josh Green, as they get ready to roll off beyond the official iRacing pace car. And there they go. Robert McGinnis getting a little bit late off the grid, but he will now be rolling and moving his way back up to the front. The Jackson Ball starting on the pole here. Of course, Lorenzo, we didn't see some great speed from Jackson Ball. He did finish 1 lap down in race number 1. Do you think he might have a little bit more confidence now starting up at the front? He doesn't have a long way to go from the back, or do you think he's more going to act like just a little bit of traffic for the faster drivers behind? I think most notably Nikita Lasichkin, who when he has started in the mid-pack for race number 2s, he has blown out of a cannon on these restarts and has been so close to the lead off of turn number 1.
Yeah, remember that 4 wide I think he did at Interlagos going to turn number 1? I think that is a good example for Nikita Lasichkin to just go out of the water and try to claw some positions. But Road America is a different beast. You know, it isn't wide like Interlagos is, and you don't have a high radius. It's not a high radius, but a corner that has a lot of room for you to make kind of 3 wide of sorts, even though he kind of bunches himself. Turn number 1, you can barely fit 2 cars properly. You just need to negotiate. So Nikita needs to be a little bit more safe over here to try to escalate up in the grid. And then after he maybe finds himself comfortable going to turn number 3 and 4, between the 3 to the 5 section, then he can try to make those moves a little bit more accordingly. But then again, cold tires, cold brakes, he can find a very shifty position if he goes for those moves and is not aware of that.
Fields, of course, completing the formation lap, and then we will be ready to go racing tonight. Looking on board with your pole sitter for race number 2, Jackson Ball. Can this be new fire for the 07? And will he be able to grab the win here in race number 2? We've seen drivers grab the win off of the pole of race number 2. I believe most notably Anders Krohn from Phoenix last week, after a wreck out in race number 1. So we've seen it's possible, but with fast drivers coming from the back of the field, I think what everybody is wondering is 7 laps going to be enough time for Josh Green and Anders Krohn to cut their way through the field and get to the front? Only time is going to tell. You can see tires getting warmed up for the 2 of Josh Green. Can he be the first driver to go back to back and win both races in a single night since we have gone to this 2-race format? Nobody has been able to do it yet. Nikita Lasichkin Anders Krohn was close in Interlagos, got up to P2, couldn't beat Nikita Lasichkin. Anders Krohn is currently the only driver to have won at least 1 race in both of the rounds that we have had the 2-race format in this season. Can he continue that, get up to the front and grab the race win? Will Josh Green be able to go back to back, or will somebody new head into victory lane? Could it be Nikita Lasichkin getting race win number 4 of the season? He starts in P6 for race number 2. Anything can happen, and after 7 laps, we'll find out the results, but you have to stick with us for all 7 laps to see how everything will unfold. Green flag is in the air. We're racing for race number 2. Jackson Ball gonna fire out of a cannon to start. Robert McGinnis trying to hold on and trying to now defend for that 2nd spot. It's side by side between Michael and Sheldon for 3rd. They'll race into 1. Down the inside goes Wade Michael for 3rd. Gonna go a little bit wide over on the rumble strip. Doesn't get loose. He's able to keep it under him, but it looks like an incident towards the back. Dave Anderson and Panzergrauer are around. Lasichkin goes for P number 4, and he's going to be able to grab it as a side-by-side battle starting to brew for 2nd.
Yeah, Lasichkin going for a bold move, going to turn number 3, making it 3 wide for a second right there, and rock and roll Rick Shannon just backed away as McGinnis goes for P1.
You can see the defense from Wade Michael as well. McGinnis going to go way down the inside, overcooks it, coming through turn 4, and back to the lead goes Jackson Ball. A perfect reaction from Ball there. He could see McGinnis really barreling into that corner, and he was able to hit the brakes just for a moment and be able to hold on to the lead. Zach Hudson in the middle of a hornet's nest now as Wade Michael was able to get around him, but you look behind him in P7, Josh Green is already now from P7 to P6. He is fighting his way up through the field. Nikita Lasichkin is knocking on the door of P2 already as well as the field works their way through the carousel off of lap number 1 of our 2nd race of the evening.
Yeah, as they go through the kink right now, Lasichkin trying to find that room to overtake Jackson Ball. Has to lift up the gas a little bit so he doesn't run into the back of Ball. Now, because you're following this draft train, he's going to be a little bit overtaken. He's going to have to commit on the brakes here, Josh.
Lasichkin into Canada corner down the inside, and it's going to be move made, albeit by just a couple of inches. Lasichkin up in a 2nd, and an incident towards the back for Joe Butler in the 3. He goes around. I believe this is also off of Canada Corner.
Yep.
As we see now, Jackson Ball falling to third. Josh Green up and into P number 6. Now in front of Hudson and Leo, who sits 7th and 8th. Anders Krohn still trying to fight to get out of P9.
Yes, I think that was a friendly fire, by the way, between Max Butler and Joe Butler. That I see Max Butler with a black flag, so he has to go into the drive-through. It's getting a little bit feisty with this swerving around the front straight, as everybody's kind of like tucked in into a very big Indian foul, as they're gonna have to find ways now to make overtakes over here.
So McGinnis now leads after Lasitchkin. Looks like he might have made a mistake to fall into P number, oh no, he was always in P number 2. McGinnis staying at the front of the field, I should say. Jackson Ball originally in the lead off of lap number 1, now falling back into third after Lasitchkin was able to get around him as well as McGinnis. Fighting towards the back, Josh Green making another move, and he's gonna go into the top 5. You can see Rick Sheldon, the 63 in front of him. You can see Jackson Ball up there in the 07 as well, as he continues to try and cut his way through the field. Already up into 5th after just a lap and a half, Lorenzo. This is crazy speed we're seeing from Josh Green. If anybody's going to win 2 races in a single night and be the first to do it of this new format, I think Josh Green is going to be the one to put your money on.
He could be the guy to bring us home with the back-to-back win, as he's going to make the move now into Rick Sheldon. Going into the outside, that's, I would say, the preferable zone into the braking. As can he brake him into Canada Corner? Yes, he can quite nicely. And now Josh Green into P4. Oh, look at Lasitchkin
taking their way, and almost grabbing the lead was Nikita Lasitchkin. Gives it back to Robert McGinnis off of turn number 14. Look at McGinnis now full on the defense, trying to hold Nikita Lasitchkin at bay. They'll race up the hill across the start-finish line into turn number 1. And yes, exact shades of Interlagos as Lasitchkin tries to chase down McGinnis for the race lead into turn 1. Not going to be able to get there, but look at Josh Green. A bold move on Jackson Ball, and he's into the podium places, maybe knocking on the door of the race lead with just 2 laps down. We go on to lap number 3, and Green is back to the front already.
And that's the importance of, you know, how to start early on and aggressively, and know how to start early on. But yeah, it's insane what Josh Green has been able to do at the start of the race, as now Lasitchkin on the outside is not going to have any room whatsoever. A little bit of a swerve because McGinnis made a little bit of a mess under braking.
You can see, Rick Sheldon moving down into P10 is trying to fit that number 2 machine to the inside was Nikita Lasitchkin, or sorry, on Nikita Lasitchkin was Josh Green, unable to do it. Green now tucks back in behind the rear wing of the number 5. McGinnis still in the lead and maybe able to take this opportunity to pull away at the front of this field as well. As you can see, the battle for second starting to heat up, Lorenzo. This could give McGinnis a very good opportunity to pull away at the front of this field, but he needs to have the speed to do it. Lasitchkin, when he gets in the pocket of that slipstream, can close so quickly. Same thing with Josh Green on Nikita Lasitchkin, and here comes Green to the inside in Canada Corner, and to second place goes Green, and collision towards the back, and off track goes Anders Krohn in the 47. Jackson Ball's involved as well, but stopped on the racetrack is Anders Krohn, towed back to the pit lane, and a second championship competitor taken out of the race.
Yeah, apparently a drive-through for Jackson Ball. We're going to take a look on the replay right next, whenever we can, to get a chance of what happened over there. As now Lasitchkin in third place. What Lasitchkin needs to do over here, in my opinion, Josh, follow Josh Green as best as you can and try to make an overtake at the end.
Fight towards the back. Matthew Escajeda is involved in this one. He's in P5. There's Zach Hudson in front of him. As well as in this fight is Wade Michael, who sits at the tail end of this battle for full fourth. Here's the battle for the lead once again as McGinnis still leads the way. Josh Green now to second. Can Lasitchkin get close enough to make a move on your race number 1 winner?
Oh.
And you can see Green now so close off of turn 4, but the defense coming out from McGinnis. He's not afraid to get those elbows out. Green is very loose on the outside of the corner. He's able to hold off Lasitchkin from getting that second spot, but Robert McGinnis is going to pull away a little bit more. A small mistake from Josh Green and a big moment off the heels of turn 5.
Big moment is an understatement. What a save from Josh Green. And as a consequence, didn't lose a lot of time. 0.6 of a second is doable. You can catch him back in the next few laps. So we still have a battle on our hands.
Still having a battle is Green and Lasitchkin. Now taking the opportunity to pull away a little bit more is McGinnis. He's up to 0.6, but you can see a little bit of that slipstream now coming into play by Josh Green. He's able to close in, albeit not a lot. McGinnis out in front looking for his first race win of the season. Here's the mistake. To the outside goes Josh Green, and oh my goodness, he didn't get onto the grass there, Lorenzo. Too much throttle like you just mentioned, and just got loose and had to save it. Almost went full lock on that wheel to keep it from spinning.
Yeah, it looks like he nearly went into full throttle going into the outside of the Corvette bridge, and what happened is you're still not into the flat spot, so because you're within that transition just right on the peak of it, is a little bit tricky, as we see what happened in the replay with the number 7 and also Jackson Ball and Andrews Krohn that made Andrews have to retire from this race.
And Krohn now finishing P14. This is going to have to be another drop for him. And that's going to add his 11 points that he earned at the Red Bull Ring, which is not going to be in his best interest. This could be a tide turned in the championship standings. Off track for the 63, Rick Sheldon just went straight off the racetrack there into the sand and into the grass. He's able to get it back on and now resides in P8. This time by the start-finish line, it will be 2 laps to go. Green is still there. Lasitchkin is still there. Through the carousel they go. McGinnis still leads, but the gap is now down to less than 0.4. What can Green do here? Here's another replay. Oh, this is what happened earlier to Joe Butler. Loose to the inside goes brother Max Butler and makes contact with Joe, sends the 3 machine into the tires.
And say something about I gotta something about that later. Let's watch this one though.
Side by side for the lead. Green takes a look to the outside in Canada corner. Can't do it. Here comes Lasitchkin. He's going to peek that front wing to the inside, but very quickly the right-hander turns into a left-hander, and then Lasitchkin gets stuck on the outside, has to give way to Josh Green. 2 to go this time by the line. Robert McGinnis trying all he can to pull away at the front, trying to break that slipstream, but Green is closing. It's not going to be fast enough. It's at 2.5 tenths. Lasitchkin goes to the outside of turn number 1. Doesn't have enough momentum. McGinnis all the way on the inside. Green gonna look to the outside. Is it gonna be enough? He powers along the outside, almost making contact. Here comes Lasitchkin to fight for second, but Josh Green is to the lead of this race. McGinnis is gonna fight Lasitchkin for second. He's able to hold off that spot. Now how is McGinnis going to respond to Green? He's closing in with the slipstream. Where's McGinnis gonna take it? He's gonna have to go to the outside. So right-hander coming up as they go through the moraine sweep. Can he clear Green before they get to the corner? To the outside for Robert McGinnis, fighting for a race win number 1 of the season. Can't do it along the outside, and Green holds on to the lead as they go back up the hill to turn 6.
Wow, what an amazing work, and what a hold-off line that Josh Green did on the outside to go off turn number 1 to seal the position. He got a little feisty out there. I thought it would have made contact, but that was really close, and I'm liking this battle. I just wish they could finish for a photo finish, but I don't think this is going to be decided in a photo finish whatsoever, Josh.
Well, through the carousel, if McGinnis can catch up a little bit more, he might be able to hold a candle to Josh Green. Depends on how that slipstream is going to work for him. Down the straightaway here, the kettle bottoms off of turn 11, and down the front straightaway here at Virtual Road America. What can Lastichkin do? McGinnis is there. He's going to take a peek to the outside into Canada corner. Is it going to be enough? Can he clear Green on the inside? No, it won't. Green holds on. Is he going to go for the switchback? Yes, he is. Here comes McGinnis.
Nice.
He's able to clear Green. A picture-perfect move through Canada corner to grab the lead back for Robert McGinnis. Now can he hold on to the white flag lap? It'll be one to go this time by from Virtual Road America. McGinnis almost takes him into the pit lane, and Josh Green loses a ton of momentum. He's down to half a second. Not enough slipstream. Lastichkin fights for second. He's gonna try and get that spot away, and he will.
Yeah, but Green's basically overshot at the last turn and gave the room for Lastichkin to come close, make the overtake, and also gave him a little bit of room so he could go into single file once again. Now Lastichkin is going to be the hunter instead of being the hunted this time by. So again, is still not out of the woods yet. Still has a nearly more than 6 kilometers trying to make this one work.
Looking for race win #1 of the season is McGinnis. You can see how much he is trying to break that slipstream of the drivers behind him, how much he wants this race win. Lastichkin is gonna make a dive to the outside. Not gonna be able to do it. He makes contact, and Josh Green is gonna take that opportunity, that small lack of momentum from Nikita Lastichkin, and get back up into second place. A great move from Josh Green. Now the big question is, when and where is he gonna go for the move on Robert McGinnis? They just exit turn 7, through Henry Downs they go, and into turn number 8. They'll have to go through the carousel, turns 9 and 10. How can Green use the slipstream coming through the carousel? He might have an opportunity off of turn 11 and down through the kettle bottoms into Canada corner to make this move for the race win. Green is racing for his 3rd race win of the season and trying to go back to back and win both races tonight. Robert McGinnis is going for race win #1 of the season. Lastichkin could be in the move for the win as well. Green steps to the outside through Canada corner. They almost make contact. He's loose. McGinnis is gonna push Green off the track. Green is into the tire barrier. McGinnis is into second, and going from 3rd to the race lead in Canada corner is Nikita Lastichkin, and coming through turn 14 and across the start finish line for race win #4 of the season. He is now the most winning driver in Real Racers Virtual Club Season 3. Nikita Lastichkin wins at Road America. Have you ever indeed? And what a move on the final lap. McGinnis and Green come together, and Lastichkin takes advantage of it.
And in McGinnis' race just goes from bad to worse with that defense. He actually got a black flag at the end of the race, so he has to do a drive-through. And I don't know if he was able to do the drive-through on the final lap, so he might get relegated a few spots back by not being able to finish with the black flag already cleared. So let's look at the replay of what happened here.
They almost made contact once, and McGinnis so loose coming into Canada corner. He body slams into Josh Green. I'm not sure if you can really pin that on McGinnis there that much, Lorenzo, because you gotta think he's racing for that first career race win. And he can go on board with Nikita Lastichkin here. And I think he just maybe got on the brakes maybe a little bit too hard, or maybe not enough, just got loose and made the contact with Green, but McGinnis was fighting for a first career win. And it was already close to contact with Green there, and then just loses it coming into Canada corner.
I think I want to say that near contact was kind of like the ice. I'm not going to say it's the icing on the cake, but that what did McGinnis going to the braking zone, you know, because you're so close into the braking zone, and I think Josh kind of tried to pinch you in or try to make you do a mistake going to the braking zone, kind of like miss it, and you have to go all the way straight and miss the corner nearly. And Lastichkin, who has nothing to do with that, just, you know, just cruise along and go for P3 to P1 just like that, and basically recover the point that he had lost in race 1.
A beautiful move to get a beautiful win for Nikita Lastichkin. This is race win #4 for Lastichkin of the season. and what a way to do it. Zach Hudson ends up in second place. Josh Green not too far off the top. He finishes on the podium in race number 2 to comment on his race number 1 win. Nicholas Leo finishes in 4th, with Wade Michael finishing P5. Matthew Escajeda finishes in 6th. Robert McGinnis finishes in 7th. Rick Sheldon, Dave Anderson, Kurt Panseground gonna round out your top 10, with Max Butler, Joe Butler, Jackson Ball, and Anders Krohn unfortunately ending up P14 on the night. We'll see how Lastichkin's win combined with Krohn's 14th place is going to affect this points championship. We get ready to enter the post-race show tonight, and we'll be able to speak with, of course, a handful of the drivers who raced here tonight. And what a night it was from the virtual Road America. And Lorenzo, as we enter the post-race show, just talking about Lastichkin, now 4 race wins on this season. He is going to be at the top of the point standings with Anders Krohn's 14th place. Just what a night and what a season so far for Nikita.
Yeah, what a season so far. The pendulum swinging back into Nikita's favor after what happened at Phoenix, and just this race, this insane finish going into Canada corner, kind of like salvage what was lost at race 1, what it could have gotten at the end of the day at race 1. He basically got now at race 2 and equal everything that he had lost, and now probably into a top spot. Don't know how close it is going to be to Anders Krohn, but it's still a very wide open battle for the championship nevertheless.
Let's talk to your race number 2 winner, Nikita Lastichkin. And Nikita, welcome back to the RaceSpotTV broadcast booth. Seems like we have you here pretty much every single night that we're broadcasting Real Racers Virtual Club. But talk us through just that entire race as a whole. We'll get to that last lap in Canada corner in just a moment, but that entire race was almost perfectly ran by you. You start mid-pack, and then you just kind of hang out at the edge of the podium there. Did you feel like you had the speed to get the race win and just couldn't make the passes happen?
Honestly, I think Josh was the class of the field. He was able to pull away for the win in race 1. So I think, honestly, my concern was just not having my front wing taken out by Rob, because he was definitely doing a lot of weaving, and I just thought I let Josh have a go at him and maybe see what happens in the end. And little do you know, it worked out. So a little sketchy, honestly, but it was all right.
And then that last lap, what was your reaction when you see Josh Green in front of you and Robert McGinnis in front of you just suddenly collide? They both go off, and then you're sitting in the race lead with just 2 corners to go before your 4th race win.
I mean, honestly, hate to see that happen for Josh, but I kind of saw that coming. So, yeah, I mean, not the most exciting win, but I'll take it.
Well, moving forward in the campaign, we've got Laguna Seca in 1 week's time. We're hoping to see you there, and we'll see how you're doing in the points as well. Now with Anders Krohn finishing in 14th place, looks like he might be in the top of the point standings. But we'll see you in 1 week's time when we continue into round 9. Congratulations on your race 2 win.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Great to hear from race 2 winner Nikita Lastichkin. Now 4 race wins on the board for him this season. We continue in the post-race show with Zach Hudson, who ends up P number 2 off of the contact that was made towards the end of that race. And Zach is standing by with our Lorenzo Bonder.
So, Zach, not the race 1 that you probably wanted. You finished P10 at the end of the day, but that's race 2, man. What a roller coaster of emotions, going from 5th place and being all the way there into the top 3 nearby, and then getting P2 at the end of the day. How does that feel?
It's pretty gratifying, I would say, to at least get a podium after tonight. Race 1 was a bit rough, but managed to hang in there for race 2. Honestly, Josh deserves the P2. He was really the class of the field tonight, and was really running things. It was rough to see him kind of get batched up there at the end, but that's racing a little bit. So we'll take it. Take 3rd or 4th podium for the season and another P2, nice. And just rack up some points. So I'll take it.
Nice. And going to the rest of the calendar that we have going, is there any race that you think for your driving style kind of favors you a little bit more than the other track?
Well, I know we got Laguna coming up next, and obviously Laguna is a really fun track, iconic track. Excited to go there. It's one of my personal favorites in the States. So excited to run there, see if I can gather up some more podiums. Maybe a race win. I don't know. We'll see. But looking forward to Laguna.
One can dream, Zach. Anyway, man, congratulations on that P2. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. We'll see you guys. Thank you so much.
Great to hear from Zach Hudson. Third podium of the season for him. And we go to your race number 1 winner in third place in race number 2, Josh Green. Josh, first, I have to say congratulations on your real world race win in Indy Pro 2000s this past weekend in St. Petersburg. Great to see you having that real world success. But moving over to the virtual world, race number 1 win and some of the best speed that we saw all night. Talk us through your preparation for tonight and what really gave you that extra speed and that extra hand over everybody else.
Thank you, first of all. Road America has honestly been one of the better circuits for me. Overall in the sim and in real life, it's one that's always, suited my driving style, so I've always been generally quick around here, and I think I just figured out, the brake bias and stuff like that to make the car rotate earlier than everyone else.
And going through race number 2, fighting from P14 with the reverse invert and all the way back up through the field. What were your thoughts, of course, of that last lap incident through Canada Corner? Because you had the speed, you were on the outside, and then unfortunately contact made and you end up into the tires and ending up off of P number 1.
Oh, it happens. Me and Rob have had a lot of races before in our past, and I know that it was purely a mistake. It wasn't malicious in any way. He just locked up the rears on the way in. We weren't really that late on the brakes, but sometimes it happens. Unfortunately, he had to pit at the end. I would have liked him to just drive up to second anyway, but that's life. Either way, driving through the field was good. I have the pace and knew I had the pace, and I was just really good in all the brake zones around the circuit, so was able to work that to my advantage.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here in the broadcast booth. Congratulations on your race number 1 win and third place podium finish here in race number 2.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear from Josh Green, of course, off the heels of his real world race win in St. Petersburg. And now standing by with Lorenzo Bonner to round out the post-race show, it's Joe Butler.
So, Joe, congratulations on that P3 on race 1. Of course, race 2 didn't go the way you probably wanted. Of course, some friendly fire, some brotherly fire right there. The first thing I need to know, were there words or were there any animosity down at the Butler household?
Well, I was actually just texting him, and I was telling him we're going to have an awkward family dinner here soon.
Right on.
Yeah, we all make mistakes. I'm definitely one that has made a mistake or two in my virtual racing career. So it's hard to dwell on it. We just move on.
Well, and with that being said, 3 races of the season, you just had a really good result on race 1. That might bring you in front of Matthew Escajeda. Let's see at the end of the day, or even Max Butler. But your brother Max, which track does favor you a little bit best if you have to choose out of the 3?
Ooh. Well, okay. I was really looking forward to this one, and I mean, I really don't think I have anything else. I was really quick here, and I was surprised of my performance. So I don't really know. I'm sorry, I don't have a better answer for you.
It's okay, Joe. I had to sneak that in first, but again, congratulations on P3. Can't wait to see what you're gonna do next week at Laguna Seca.
Oh, Laguna, here we come. Thank you very much, guys.
No problem.
Great to round out the post-race show, speaking with Nikita Lasishkin, Zach Hudson, Josh Green, and Joe Butler. A great night of action here from Road America, Lorenzo, and now Josh Green gets his second win of the season. Nikita Lasishkin gets race win number 4. And we're going to Laguna Seca, which you can draw a couple of similarities from Road America, maybe with the slipstream, but overall, a very, very difficult racetrack as well. Drivers in the iRacing service race on it from the beginning of their rookie campaign, so you'd have to think at least a handful of these drivers might know their way around this track.
He might know layout here and there. It's not the best track for you to do overtakes. It's hard. It's very hard for you to do overtakes, I think, on high-powered cars because you're riding on the Indy Pros. It might be a little bit easier, but this is a track that you cannot make mistakes. It's so easy for you to make a mistake. If you're making a mistake, it's basically race done, and you have to scrap yourself going to race 2, and hopefully you don't make a mistake in there as well.
And we hope that you'll be joining us here on RaceSpotTV March the 8th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time for the 9th round of the campaign. Only 3 rounds remain. So make sure that you are here to watch the battle for the championship from the virtual Laguna Seca. That'll do it for our coverage here from Virtual Road America. For Hugo Luis down in the virtual production trailer tonight, and for Lorenzo Bonder, my colleague here in the booth, myself, Joshua Lee, on behalf of Real Racers Virtual Club and RaceSpotTV, thank you for tuning in to tonight's coverage. We'll see you in 1 week's time as the campaign continues from Virtual Laguna Seca. But for now, we are saying good night from Virtual Road America.